Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Lifting. This episode is being recorded on 7/6/25. We're doing another Q&A again, folks. This is going to be the last hodgepodge one for a while now. But before I get into any of these announcements, I now open this circle to true benevolence with no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So, Joanna?
We are all one, and when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, that only the highest good be done. We pray for you, your friends, your family, your loved ones, to let healing energies in. Let them love you, let them nourish you, and let them bring you to your highest good. We ask for benevolence now to come in with no conflicting agenda, so that we may have this conversation in great understanding. And we wish that malevolent and mischievous type beings to be swept away, so that we may have this conversation in peace. And with that, and with great blessings that we always send your way, we say so be it.
And so be it. I will read the affirmation blessing here, and then I'm going to explain something before we get going here. So, this one was one of them by Elvis. In life, we have our vices, but in life, we also have our enemies. Never let them take control of your vices. And that was by channeling of musician and actor Elvis Presley. You heard the previous Q&A that we did where he talked about vices. This was also a tag onto that. Now, what I wanted to say was this. You've seen plenty of these hodgepodge episodes, eclectic groups of questions for Q&A. We are going to retool this a little bit from this point. We'll still do some hodgepodge ones from time to time, but there was such an overwhelmingly amount of questions that some of these themes could have been their own episodes and may still be. There's groups of them that will end up on GIC primarily, and there are some groups of them that will remain here, and there's some groups of them that may be their own eclectic group for hodgepodge, but then there's some that are their own themes. And also, sending in large amounts of them, I am personally requesting that you not send in huge amounts of them, because my brain will lock onto it, and then I end up answering them all, and then that becomes a hodgepodge episode. So if you could please restrict your questions to maybe 2, and also if it is a video question, it must be a question. Don't just send me a link. If there's a question, mark the time code on that video that somebody is saying something specific, because within a long video, like if it's 2 or 3 hours, I find a variation of questions that could be collated throughout that
And
could
we
be
don't have the
formulated.
time.
We don't have the time to do
I'm
that.
sorry, we don't have the time for multiple people
Yeah.
to send in long things for us to review, to try
And
to
analyze,
figure
yeah.
out the question, analyze it. It will not work that way, because it can't work that way.
Mhm.
So we need questions of concerning the video, and if they're long videos, you do need to send in the timestamp of where we should start looking at it.
Mhm.
And so this is just how it's going to be. There's too many questions coming in. So you have to be very specific, and we've actually said this from day one. You need to be specific.
Mhm.
We will not answer questions about the person who is doing the communication. What we will answer is a specific question about the materials. If you're going to do it as a video, you must send in the link
Mhm.
and the timestamp of what it is.
And also personal questions. Those are sessions.
Correct.
So each and every single time, those are questions. I am sorry, but I'm not at the same time. Those are sessions, pure and simple. But everything else is where the categories I specified before and how I specified. I need to be this strict because of the nature by which how I answer the question.
Well, and the quantity that are coming
And the
in.
quantity.
It's just that simple.
Yeah. So
a lot of questions are coming in.
Mhm.
That's wonderful, but they have to be done in a very systematic way.
Mm-hmm. And also ones that say pertain to forest people, those will be out of World of Sasquatch, and some that have more of a creepy vibe to it, conspiracy sector. So yeah, we're gonna have to divide it up a little bit to actually make it more fair and balanced. So I just wanted to specify that before we moved on here. So I'll get on to the questions. So first one.
To whom in the U.S. Capitol building, to whom is the U.S. Capitol building a church or temple to?
This is actually quite interesting. It is a temple to Isis. You all know who that is. Uh, Meaning all, and I mean all of those female personifications are indeed to her. The same goes with Statue of Liberty, Lady Liberty. Get it? And there's also other deities that it goes to, one called Echidna as well. There are fake, and I will be very brief on this. There are fake Christian churches out there. If you see statues that have a serpent bottom on the bottom of them with Mother Mary, any of them, that is to Echidna. That is to some of these other Naga deities. They always say cult of the dragon, but it is not. Dragons have shrouded the line. Dragons are good. But if you see statues that have snake bottoms, those are Naga folks. Those are not who is being represented there. I suppose if it's Enlil, Jesus, and Isis, but
Of course, if you looked it up, you did, what are you talking about? That is, the serpent, the wisdom of the serpent.
Mhm.
That's what that is. That's what they say it is.
That's
Of
what they say it
course,
is.
that's what they say it is.
That's their god. They're
It's
worshiping.
not
Yeah,
what they say it is.
It's
And
not
so
what they say
that's
at
what
all.
we're trying to point out, something for you to think about and look at, not trying to put, goodness and anything down, but we're saying that, of course, it would not be presented in the way it was actually meant to
Yeah.
the regular people, because then you wouldn't buy into it.
And also, if you look at Skyrim Elder Scrolls V, you also see the Tiber Septim statue the same way in it, or the Talus statue. Granted, dragonborn, but they're also saying something else. Within all the other stuff you heard Ryan and me talk about over the years with Elder Scrolls, this is an addition to that because it has to do with this topic. But the one thing I do want to explain, the capital has an undercroft. Only churches and temples have undercrofts, folks. And also allegorical figureheads, like what I said, and also the sacred feminine, quote unquote, link. There isn't really no sacred feminine or sacred masculine. I want to point this out. People are all either into the goddess or the god side of themselves. Technically, people are both sort of, but at the same time, yes, it is to bring out the best part of yourself. You're basically aligning the best part of your avatar, the best part of your oversoul, and grounding them in your I am presence here. If you need a sacred moniker or title to be able to become this, go for it. But at the same time, there really is no official sacred feminine or sacred masculine. Now, one more linked to the Kabbalist families from Egypt. You have a very old reference from the 80s. Yes, it is very old. It's almost 50 years old now. The Masters of the Universe. That you've heard us talk about the whole Princes of the Universe thing, like off of Freddie Mercury's song of the same name for Highlander. But the name She-Ra that was in He-Man. Well, there's also He-Man. You see the pronouns She-Ra, He-Man. You see where they went with that, for one. And He-Man wearing a Templar cross on his chest fighting Skeletor that's supposed to be an Orion personification, but it was also supposed to be blonde hair, blue eye. That's New Schwabenlander, Martian German. Master race, Masters of the Universe, but She-Ra was, you flip that word around. It is Rashi and then Rashield, which then corrupted to the word Rothschild. The origins of the Cabal families. Look back to that along with the Osiris Isis material with this whole sacred feminine BS. You will find all of this along with the three-letter agencies, propaganda. You will find this, and also there was an even episode of She-Ra where she was basically defeating a flying clock. They were also doing propaganda about AI trying to destroy the White City, which is Washington, D.C. People will not look at He-Man or She-Ra or Masters of the Universe the same way again. They even tried that new personification where it went into the woke territory. Wrong move to the director in that. But the other comparison to other personifications, Britannia of Great Britain, Italia Turrita of Italy, Mariana of France, and all of those. These are all allegorical personifications of a character they say they created, but through all imagination and sight, you're getting it from other points in creation, the butterfly effect. So you are getting it from other areas, just like how there's duplicate inventions somewhere. People think they're stealing from one another, but they're downloading it. This is no different. This information was just copy and pasted. In some situations, basically, what Isaac was saying there was he felt that all the personifications were that same person regurgitating this over and over again. Yes, but aside from Echidna and some of the other female ones, absolutely correct. And a couple of them, the allegorical ones. So I believe we can move on from this one.
Next question. Is the tech primarily and for the most part the cause of most, if not all, of the health issues aside from GMOs and toxins?
Mm-hmm. And this was Isaac. Yes, as you already know, the second or two-part system that they have, psionics as well as chemicals, chemtrails and chemicals in the food and water. But there is a third, indoctrination. The three parts, dishonoring and misusing the number 3, I might add, presented in that SpongeBob SquarePants episode that you saw. Done, Isaac. And I'll repeat this one more time since this is a Q&A, and I said this on the last year's conference material as well. His name's Plankton, decided that he was going to poison the town, make everybody stupid with Patrick Starr's DNA. He spills it on himself, becomes dumb, and then it all evaporates, goes above the town, makes everybody stupid. And that's chemclouds, chemtrails. And then Sally Squirrel re-educates everyone within in the education system, basically pointing at the education system being the third part of this indoctrinated system. The system, it's indoctrination. Now, it was on the second Nickelodeon channel, which I'm aware SpongeBob is on there 24/7, but it was number 2, meaning second delivery system. The first is psionics and always has been frequency and sound and light codes. So the visual as well. So through the TV and all of the waves coming through there. So that, and then they had another one where Plankton was taking on memories of the other characters, and then he was transmuting and becoming the other characters. That's more Secret Space Program disclosure there, folks. Like body switching and things of that nature. So we'll move on to the next one. And these were 2 videos, and I'm not going to show them. They are too long, but I will show the screenshots of both of these because this is a Whitney Houston one, and I will show the screenshots of these only. So I'm going to share real fast, and then I will read the very short response that she had. So right here, this is the Afterlife interview with Whitney Houston, part 1 and 2. See, both of those. Well, from Channeling Eric. I will now unshare. I just wanted to make sure people knew where I was citing sources here. So, and now I will get back to the document. Okay. The whole thing is, so you can go ahead and read this above the 2 links there.
Well, basically, it's the point of it is she was slowly exposing evil surrounding her, and basically kind of talks about how she died.
Yes, and it's a short response, like what she said in the previous Q&As. This basically just reiterates this. The darkness had me, but it also was conjured by them, the industry, and that was from Whitney Houston. That was this is from Whitney Houston. Now I'm going to I'll read this one myself because this had to do with more of a Michael Jackson video, and I'm not going to say the other person's name that's on here. I wonder if Michael's music was created the way other people's music was out there. Torture in the studio, black magic ritual, off-planet sources, and just plain theft. What this is, and I'll say my part first. Yes, there are other insiders. When they have come back, they've come back with certain vibrations that if they go into the music industry or go anywhere, they're starting to reverberate some of the stuff that happened back in the secret space program. They don't even know it. You've heard of music programming. We talked about this long before. Even the singers bringing out the codes that others are channeling through. Like when I channel, but I'm picky about who I channel. They don't always realize they're doing it. It could be a program from the secret space program that is regurgitating. And in Michael's case, there was some things he was hinting at, of course, because of his programming issues, as we said before. So I'm going to read this, what he said at the bottom here. Yes, parts of it were, parts not. Some heart, some soul, some messages, some programming. Some singers emanated. Most music now does, both AI sources and programmed V2K'd and vaxxed people. Michael Jackson. That's what he wanted to reiterate. And if you want to actually see the music programming episode that we did, it's on our Rumble slash thelifting. Rumble.com/thelifting. It is in the archive on there. The original one we did back in, I believe it was 2017, 2018. So hate to rush through that, but we do have a mob of questions here. So with this one, actually, you can just go ahead.
Is the sun funneling cosmic energies to Earth via plasma tornadoes?
And this was from another YouTube video. Just let me see if I put it up real fast, but I'm not going to. I did not, and I'm not.
Is that the name of it right there?
Yeah, that's just the name of it. If you look on YouTube, is the sun funneling cosmic energies to Earth via plasma tornadoes? People are rising. That's all it says. So, this was from Elena. All right. Yes and no. Yes, you get information and some genetic changes, but some of the Schumann resonance changes are to both psionic dampening and some of your 5G tech, as well as ancient alien terraforming technologies from 65 million years ago. Hence, the Earth changes, just old tech reawakening, Elena. So some of these Earth changes, aside from aliens messing around, there are terraforming tech that's out there. That's your basalt pillars that are out there. You want to see more information on that? That's within our galactic historical material. But just know, also within the Halo material as well, where Ryan and I were talking about the infinity rings. And there were some of those within the infinity rings or infinite rings within the Halo lore. Also within the game series, The First Descendant, with the different terraforming basalt pillars they have. It just was stopped in mid-use and nature claimed it. That's all that happened. Well, like with Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, where as you saw the tables and chairs that were made of stone and the room made of stone and stalactites and stalagmites were claiming it. It's because it had millions of years to have that happen from the water breaking in there. That's all. But it's all terraforming technologies from the time of the Great Seeding. So if you want to see an episode of GIC about the Great Seeding, let us know. It is a huge topic. So our group of episodes. So next one.
Can you raise that below? Thank you. Is the fact that Del Monte went bankrupt part of the food industry collapsing in order to either bring about a decline in resources or to have us head towards food replication and not paying for it?
Okay, excellent question. None of the above. Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar. Good thinking on your part, though, Isaac. This was actually more of an amalgam question that reformulated to who and what was basically causing some of the collapses and some of the like the plant burnings and stuff like that, and also the when Biden was president, the ports closings and things of this nature. This was an amalgam of a lot of these things, and this is the government destroying resources. If anybody ever saw the movie Dances with Wolves with Kevin Costner, you saw a beautiful example, horrific example, but a beautiful example of this, where the U.S. government and the cavalry eliminated all the buffalo so that the tribes would not have any food and they had to go onto reservations. Same thing with Kit Carson against the Navajo. He burned all their crops, killed all their livestock. Therefore, they had to move on to a reservation. Doing this to people so people get hungry and desperate. They burned the chicken plants now. They closed the ports, made it so stores had fewer things. Back in 2020, 21, 22, and a little bit of 23. And also the egg prices going up and the egg factories. They made it so they could overinflate prices as well. Then some people die or starve because they can't afford it. This falls along in the order that he said none of the above on that with the Del Monte going bankrupt. That has to go more with amalgamizing brands in preparation for induction into the Galactic Federation bottom crust at the bottom of the barrel toaster standard there. So like you're applying for a credit card or an insurance policy, it's a minimum requirement. This has to do with like pooling things back together that are similar. And so if this makes sense to anybody. So, okay, next.
Is the storybook Rumpelstiltskin based on truth?
Okay. And this is where I answered it, and there's a channeling at the very end of this. So, all right. Yes, it is. It is the perfect example of a lineage curse. Say an ancestor did something stupid by calling on a demon's help in the time of need. Chances are said demon caused the need for intervention to begin with, but say this happened. In the case of Rumpelstiltskin, he promised to weave all of the mother's straw into gold, but on one condition, that she give up her firstborn daughter to him. This also signifies the satanic cabal's need to sacrifice young children to the god, their god, which whatever one of their choices, but more specifically, young girls. The way out is to never make the pact to begin with. How is this accomplished? Look back within your own family history and try to find who it is that made the unholy pact to begin with. And in your mind, visualize a different outcome. Ancestral past life rewrites are not different than when I said when the mouth demon puts a visual in your mind. When they tried to use my creative center to try to co-create a scenario where Joanna died, I just rewrote it with a better ending and put my name as the executive producer and director, or on the production of that note. Then I faded it to black. I put my name on that and faded it to black. This pissed them off. This pissed off nearby Draco demons just enough for me to see them and deal with the problem. See also provocation. That's paranormal provocation, where you have ghosts in your house. You provoke them enough to where they're angry enough to either get evidence or visually see them to get rid of them. That's more in the paranormal category right there. That can be its own show. With lineage curses as a whole, also known as viruses in the DNA, it is best to find the exact behavioral trait that you wish to get rid of and just become the opposing trait. Say there was a trait technique used in antiquity that was needed for that time. That may not be needed now in our modern time frame. Doing the opposite helps both ends of the lineage, ancestral as well as descendant lineages. This is because it does a past life ancestral rewrite of its very own, just by not utilizing the traits that are undesirable in this current moment in time. See as that everything everywhere is happening all at once. These rewrites connect you to a much better outcome in the past, subsequently affecting your current now moment in minor and or drastically different ways. And here is the channel that also goes for the Elder Scrolls bit in the Elder Scrolls, the actual scrolls in the game series, by the way. Same thing. Or the possible past, possible futures. Yarg's drill tree in Norse mythology. Multiverse, everything everywhere all at once. Infinite diversity and infinite combinations. One thing left to say. This is not a one-stop shop. This process can take not only years to master, but decades, and even whole lifetimes to undo. This is very important because of the fact that it does so very much here on Midgard in the way of bindings and curses that people cannot yet comprehend. Say you end one curse completely and fully while you are here. This spreads through what is known to people as the butterfly effect, to others, making it far easier for them to not only to end not only their generational curses and bindings, but other curses as well as unwanted ancestral traits. That is all for now, Isaac. And I also noticed for certain traits they focused on, and I've mentioned this one other time before, the witches of Salem. That incident where people were trying to land grab and they'd accuse their neighbor of witchcraft. You've heard us talk about that before. The unknown portion is there were bloodlines that the Orions and other groups did not want around, kind of like with the whole God and Samson routine in the Philistines. I found out they wanted to amalgamate certain bloodlines, had certain sides marry, and even eliminate some to be able so they could control psionically capable people by the time the secret space program came around. Much later on, you see these things are done generationally. This was another angle I had not considered, that some of those people that were executed were of line variations that some of these hedge bettors did not want around. So Samson, same thing with God. That was Enlil not wanting the Philistines around, or what Hercules going on his 12 labors and taking care of tasks and creatures the gods not want around, or if they lost equipment before they had to shift to a different frequency post Atlantis. So you see where I'm going with this. So I'm going, okay. Okay, here's one more thing about the whole, oh yeah, did they focus more on descended from Salem witch trials as well, and this was in addition to that, and this was Isaac adding an addendum. Yes, they did. They killed off potential outliers, then bred certain lines to eventually become current day super soldiers. More on this later, and I just mentioned that. So, and I mentioned the butterfly effect, duplicate patents, and that whole bit. You guys get the clue on that. So, next one.
I saw a video where someone claims to have seen 27 to 28 foot tall Sasquatch in a near-death experience. Do they do this, or was this something else entirely?
Okay, this was Bronson, the forest person, that answered this one. No, Christopher, this was not us, not at all. These angels with a pouch, and they claim in this video that these guys were wearing a pouch, were an alien species that have the ability to heal someone within their sacks. Ha, sorry, I just had to LMAO, laugh my ass off. So he was making fun of these guys, knowing that there was some good there, but in this near-death experience, people saw themselves being healed inside of a pouch. He's saying this is an alien type. Isaac is not the only one who can do bad puns, hee hee. These guys are not bad, but they were deceiving that woman when she had her first near-death experience. They look nothing like us. We are also not that tall. Not even Telnorskas is that tall. Chrome and Pele, yes, but that is because they are Titans nature formations. This is it, and that is from Broston. Okay, we can move on to the next one there.
What's with the murder hornets and killer bees narrative?
Okay, and Isaac said, as Tyrus just said on Gutfeld, in one of the Gutfeld episodes of, I believe this was, I don't remember the date at the time, but as Tyrus just said on Gutfeld, that was on every year. Oh my God. Okay, let me reread this, please. My eyes really saw this. As Tyrus just said on Gutfeld, that it was on every year since he was a kid, meaning it was consecutively said each year as a narrative, pretty much. There are no killer bees nor murder hornets, all made up shit, but with a small shred of truth, of which is genetic dumbfuckery down deep within the done. He says, this meaning that there are some truths to this, but it's mostly narrative bullcrap, is what he's trying to say. Of course, murder hornet, come on. Okay, next one.
Were the Texas floods more culling through weather control or clans fighting?
Okay, and Lena was saying both. Clans fighting, or to be more accurate, clans being entertained and or fighting. Through weather control, nothing more need be said. Like what happened with the hurricanes, Milton and Helena. But that was more for mining purposes, so were the fires in California. But these are clans basically kicking each other in the nuts, but they get entertainment value out of it as well.
Right, because they are evil, nasty
evil shits,
people.
yes. Yeah. So, all right. Let's see how many we got. Okay, next one.
What celebrities are on either the Epstein list and or the Diddy list?
Okay. This was Vessa that said this. It varies, but the important thing to always remember is the ones that leave, either victims trying to hide, either truly hidden and or in plain sight, or they are guilty and are running from either Diddy and or from Epstein himself. Remember, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. He's still alive, folks. And in hiding, probably on his island, I believe. Diddy won't get off publicly, but privately, yes, he most certainly will. This is why people are still and won't talk against him, because they know what's in the background. See, he will be killed shortly thereafter. This is all that we will say on this subject, Vessa, meaning that they don't want me to get any of us to get hurt out of this. But just know there's all this stuff in the background that some of these people that people are wondering, well, why won't they just testify against this guy? He'll go to prison. you're not understanding what's going on in the background. These people don't actually die. They're actually in the background still operating. And the people that are scared of them know this. Or at least mostly know this. So just food for thought there. So next question.
Is the fact that all of the streaming services adding so many ads into their already paid content just part of an agenda to try and socialize capitalism because people will be so annoyed with ad content?
And this was another amalgam question because, yeah, there's people that have been bouncing this idea back and forth on me for months now. So was this to narrow it down? And Isaac went, yes and no. You are ultimately correct, but their ploy will not work in the end. Done, he says. But with this, yeah, what I'm trying to get at is the streaming services get so annoying, again, that you'll want to pay more and keep paying more and accepting more and more crap. The same thing with movie theaters. They're trying to get people away from them and back into their house. They don't want them to go out and enjoy movies anymore, so they keep packing in all these ads. This was the ultimate theory that was out there amongst people asking me this and bouncing this off me, that this was the conspiratorial thing going on the background. He says ultimately correct, but also there's a no side to this because there's overbearing capitalism in one area, meaning people will want to vote to get that to disappear. If you basically make a law saying what people can and cannot charge, you've just turned into a communist country at that point. Just remember that, how no matter how annoying this crap is, capitalism is a superior medium to socialism / Marxism / communism. So
Fascism.
and fascism, yes. And those all have different definitions, folks. I always screw them up myself. So, okay. Next one.
Is it just the first paragraph?
Okay. 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 Right here.
Just the first paragraph.
Right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Jacobs, how are you? I have a question for you. Is there a certain phrase or word code, sort of like a prayer, that can be used to reprogram and transmute malevolent, and in parentheses, evil, ET entities beings into benevolent beings?
Okay. Yeah. I thought this was actually okay. There's more to it here. I thought this was where I typed. Okay. I saw in a movie some guy saying the phrase, "In the name of the universe, I reprogram you and transmute you you monstrous reptilian into a friendly dragon." So, sort of like turning a reptilian into Burgess the dragon, or a vicious cannibalistic giant into a friendly forest person, just by using a few words. Is something like this possible? And let's see here. I answered, and so did I believe Elena did. Okay, this part's mine though. I've heard of this before. I have been able to transmute some bad guys into, say, food source for Burgess just by hitting it with a beam of energy, and with my intention, I say transmute food. Or transmute lizard, because he eats little lizard stuff that's around. And there's these little lizards that get into people's cores and stuff too, but he likes eating those things. And these little monkey things that go around and drive you nuts too. Loves those things. But say if it were a parasite, that is when I would turn it into a gecko lizard or something else. And this is on a different frequency. I'm not actually, doing this here. That would be amazing if I was doing that. But I have not been able to convert anything into a forest person. I don't doubt it can be done. I just haven't seen it yet. And this is where Elena chimed in. All things, people, places, and things can be turned into all possible people, places, and things. You can pull this technique from the multiverse, where the thing you want is there in existence already, Elena. And I also saw this on Star Trek Lower Decks, in the last 2 episodes of Lower Decks, where you saw that very thing happening from an anomaly, changing people, places, and things to every variation within the multiverse. Go watch it. They did it to a goofy way, but they rectified the whole Star Trek Discovery snafu they did with also with Strange New Worlds with the different ship bridge and everything. Go watch it. They reconciled all of it there with that explanation. So I find that very, very interesting. Everything Everywhere All at Once, you see her pulling from the multiverse as well. So now let's see. Okay. All right. Oh man, that is a lot. Okay. Okay, it's this entire thing. I'll scroll down as you're reading it.
So I thought of something interesting. Let's say, for example, a young man with psionic abilities and psychic abilities into paranormal decides to play Bloody Mary and summon her. Then Bloody Mary shows up, and then when she shows up in the mirror, he turns her and reprograms her into a friendly Bloody Mary. And if more than one Bloody Mary entity shows up, he helps each one of them. And this is what I mean when I say playing, practicing, or using these paranormal games as a way of contacting different entities and getting them to come to you and turn them into
From evil sources into good ones.
since they're coming as evil, to turn them into good. I thought of this as the Feral Redemption Program, Feral Entity Recognition and Liberation Redemption Program. I think that's good enough.
Okay, let's see. All right.
It's good enough.
No, it's good enough. Okay. All right. And basically also saying he would also use Christian beliefs to fix the problem too. I disagree, but that's very dangerous. But I'll say, I'll read this. This is interesting. It can be possible in the summoning sometimes that that means inadvertently that someone would give consent and then have to revoke it immediately. Sometimes these beings, creatures, were tulpas, thought forms to begin with, and transmuting them is an easy task. Precluding and or mass thought forms on and or in them. I wouldn't mess with Ouija boards. He also said something about Ouija boards, using them to summon things that way too. Out of the question. Those are designed to always summon jinn and Draco demons, even with the mindset of transmuting, helping the, excuse me, just a second. Even with the mindset of transmuting, helping demons, it is still inadvisable. And basically what I typed out there is the response was, even if your intention is to help them, they want you to fall for that trick so that they can draw off your energy. They're parasites. So do I doubt whether this can happen at some point in our future? I have no doubt that this can be true. Also, with demons, they are not a soul. They are a consciousness. That is a distinction. Adding a soul to them from someone's oversoul, if they want to take on that burden. Yes, I know, Isaac, cross to bear. Thank you. But with that, adding that in, kind of like the characters of Angel and Spike from Buffy, where they had souls added to them because they're vampires. It actually ended up creating a whole new paradigm. I don't doubt that that's possible. That's in Buffy and Angel. Go watch that. But good example. But with this, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it can be done. And also watch the episode of Conspiracy Sect that me and Aubrey did on Ouija boards and talking boards. So we went in more in depth on there. But this is Elena's response. She goes, never play with them, though you can create a practice safe space for your spells conjurings, like Dr. Strange in his mirror dimension. Confine your words to a predetermined space time or like spot time space, and create hard lines in the sand, line magic, to protect you and the space and the space, as well as those around you, meaning quarantine. And in that episode, Aubrey came up with a quote or a concept that Aleister Crowley said of the same kind of thing, where he was quarantining his spells to a safe space. Now, I'm not basically taking the side of Crowley or any of some of the work. It's neither here nor there. It's basically relaying a bit of truthful information. I want to disclaimer that. Despite all the other horror show that came after some of that out of that. I'm just saying that that particular thing was true. Abe no Seimei, with his line magic protecting Kyoto, it was the same thing.
And we really recommend you take this very, very,
Very seriously.
seriously. If you are not willing to do the boundaries and create the safe space to do it in, you should not be even attempting
And
this.
Ouija boards are out completely until they unhinge them, both thought form wise and also ritual wise, from the Kabbalistic satanic garbage. If somebody creates their own that is not a Ouija board, and then I said this on that show too, if they create their own and it doesn't hold the stigma, because people always see it as a Ouija board, always name this. When people get rid of that stigma and they're not self-farming this, as well as having the dark rituals done to it and then selling it as a game so people constantly conjure the crapola, and that's what it was for, then it will eventually be safe. I don't think it'll be anytime soon, though.
No, because if you're actively doing this and you are not creating these safe spaces, then you're probably being used to bring demons into your community.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna flat out say it like
Yes.
that. So
Yes.
don't let yourself be used. If you cannot create a safe space to work on this, you better not be doing it because you're just being used to bring in negativity.
You're just being used to bring in negativity, and they sold it. Parker Brothers sold it as a board game for that reason. So just know that was the reason for it. That's why it's so loosely sold at Walmart and Toys aisle. It was in KB Toys and Toys R Us too in the past, before those two businesses went under. So I do believe this is a video question. I want to make sure I have it up. I do not, but I want to show people the screenshot. And so I'm not playing this video. The question is curious about the floor. What is the history behind this? This was a Michael Jackson question. I am literally just going to show the screenshot here. So let me bring it up.
All
right. Now I'll just do this. Okay. This is the screenshot. This was 2009 Matt Lauer tours Michael Jackson Neverland Ranch by this MJJ LMFP. I really don't know why people make usernames and handles with that, but okay. Just look for that video. And it was actually quite fascinating, but at the same time, we want to save you time. Just go look at this yourself and look it up. And maybe there might be some episodes where we take the time to go through different videos and show stuff off and everything. But for now, please go to it. So this was by Michael Jackson. The floor was from a Cabal torture palace, the 18th century French chateau that was mentioned in the video, the floors of which the wooden floors that you see in that. It was basically the French chateau, but it is now disguised as a winery. The workers do not know. I cannot and will not reveal the chateau location nor the name for your safety reasons. The hidden room you saw in this video was a smaller, more obscure passage to the underground tunnels. Is really what it was. It was behind a bunch of his clothes, where you saw a bunch of locks and a key code thing in a cabinet. They pushed it aside. There was another door, there was another area that Matt Lauer wouldn't go into, and that was it.
And that was Michael Jackson.
And that was by Michael Jackson. Yeah. So, okay. Now I suppose I'm going to do this one too. Okay. And again, another video, and I am only going to show the original screenshot of it.
Here's a brand new, better way to sell your house. So if you're thinking about selling anywhere in or around Virginia.
Okay. Okay. This is a movie called Xeno, and there is a creature that if I can get a screenshot of the creature here. Okay. Whatever this is here, this little creature that's in it. And I can't seem to get an accurate shot of this. Yeah, just go look at this one. I can't seem to bring it up to the exact thing, but just know that that little creature I showed you was what this person was referring to. So, all right, here. Let me get back to the document here. Okay. This trailer, yeah, this was basically the typical, oh, we have to save and rescue this creature, et cetera, et cetera. So, this was Range 4 Harry that said this. This is propaganda, so that people, especially impressionable young people, will try to befriend both regular Draco and their aquatic variety. How to Train Your Dragon was similar, but also showing befriending real dragons too. That is all. There's some propaganda BS in there with, oh, befriend these entities, again, giving consent for them into your life, like a Ouija board. But also on that note, there are good dragons too. You just have to discern the difference between them. So we're going to move on to the next one here.
Do you know what caused the power failure in my community? Electric company can't determine it, still without power.
Okay, this was Isaac that did this. Okay, they quote unquote caused it. They are working on a project. This is all I can say for now. The reason that he's being so vague on this is because when you're seeing these mysterious power outages, things of that nature in your neighborhood, and there's nothing wrong, you either have paranormal activity or you have project activity where they're screwing around, or if you see those big electrical bursts and doing all these things, these are weapons, these are tests, these are clans fighting at each other, cabal clans fighting each other. These are little things, ETs screwing around, something, and you're just seeing the aftermath of some either some skirmish battle or experiment that is going on. So I've seen this, and sometimes it's just a plain old power outage too. But in some cases, I have actually seen this as an actual thing, and that's what Isaac is trying to say here. So, okay, all right. I'm not even going to show this particular video. You can just read the question there.
It says already starting to mess with the weather. Are the forest people ready to help?
Okay, this was CMAR that answered this one. Looks like this is the last one too. Okay. So they do this around this time. It seems every year they make people think that huge storms are a norm, or they prime people to expect the worst. And that was my quote there. And I'm going to start with CMARS here. CMAR here. You must understand that we do help, even if the effects are not seen right away. Though we are not at people's beck and call, we do answer. We are bracing for impact, so to speak, for weather events. Analum always, CMAR. Meaning that, again, the forest people wanted me to reiterate multiple times, but reiterate again. They are not at people's beck and call. They are not to be prayed to, unless they have offered their help or the Mozen have offered their help. It is not like the old style, like angel type things where, oh, you have a guardian, they are always at your beck and call. That is absolutely 110% not true. Not true. I might get aggravated with them if things keep happening, but these are flesh and blood people that are just in different frequencies. Would your neighbor be able to rush over all the time to do stuff for you? No, that person would want to kill you after a while. So yeah, that no. They want me to reiterate this completely. And there is one side note I will say before I go into channel. There was another, this is not the channel for this show, but he wanted to reiterate, there was a country star, Toby Keith, came to me yesterday briefly. And he wanted me, I asked him if he wanted the channel on one of these. He said, no, just relay this to the public. And there has been this smattering of reports across the internet, Facebook, and everything, that they claimed he diddled kids and did all this other stuff after his death when he couldn't refute it. He's refuting it. He wanted me to briefly post-it note this, saying he did none of these things. Stop talking shit about him, is what he said. Those were his exact words. Stop talking shit about him on the internet. Why, as a spirit, anybody would care at this point? But he wasn't fully a spirit. He just wanted to pass by and say, man, could you be bothered to put a post-it note in your show? That's all he said. So he wanted to reiterate, he did not do any of those things. He basically put it that some of them were guilty, some of them were not, and some of them were accused of being things just to discredit them because they were fighting the bad things. They were actually, he was more on the conservative side of the spectrum, so you can see where the woke kind of the arm wrestled with him. But at the same time, in his battle with the Dixie Chicks, that whole bit, I'm not going into that. But what he wanted to reiterate is that it was more set up after he passed away. He couldn't fight the accusation. Didn't do it. And he was being truthful when he told me that. So, like what Michael Jackson was talking about with his stuff. So, we're at the point in the show, sorry about the length. We're going to try to keep these to roughly an hour from this point forward. So, I'll try to time that better. And I'm sorry if that felt rushed. That is another reason we are changing this format. Because if there's a lot of them, we want to be able to put these in a condensed time where you have a chance to take in the answer. So this is another reason it's being changed. So I will see, I would assume, Isaac, this is you wanting to come in for this particular one, or if there's a particular celebrity waiting in the wings, or is it forest people that wanted to speak this time? Oh, it's actually forest people. Okay. So normally we restrict that to the world of Sasquatch, but all right. Which forest person wishes to speak? Hmm. Boston. Got it. All right. All right. Now wait a sec, a little bit in here. All right. And True Benevolent Roston as of this moment in time. Oh, can you grab his statue from behind you? I didn't expect a forest person to. The little red one right there in the corner. Yeah. I didn't expect a forest person to talk on this one. Normally they want it on their own channel. So, okay. Starting a little dense. So, this is another reason it gets dense a lot of times when I'm doing these. So, True Benevolent Frost. I will be brief. Yes, I do wish to say, yes, my brethren, it's different strokes for different folks, but there is a moot consensus on this that we are not, and a lot of the beings are not as originally advertised, where they were always at your beck and call, Gabriel's clarion call, that whole bit. That was propaganda propagated by your church so that you'd constantly want help outside of yourself. Now, we are happy to help with overbearing situations, absolutely, but it must be done within the calm, must be done within the analam. It must be done this way, or it could bring in more garbage. We are more than happy to help out. And since you are more than happy to help us out, they help us out with the voice. We help out with this. You scratch our back, we scratch yours, kind of thing. And we're more than happy to help you out with certain spiritual concerns and dimensional concerns and all of these things. We are not, as the church would say, at your beck and call, at your clarion's call, at any of your call. We hear you, and if we can, we help. And you may not know the result completely, but it may calm down. We are not at what the church has deemed necessary for you to constantly call on. And we don't stand guard. The Mozen are the closest to this, but even they cannot stay in an area for ever and ever and ever. They may say that it's their job to do it, but that they're one of the only ones. Just like the Velodians, yes, they are medical, but it doesn't mean that they can always show up and do healings. They'll help when they can, but there's so many restrictions in place. Now, when things open up a little more, absolutely, there are some things, yes, but would you, as he said, you call upon your neighbor constantly, oh, this is going on, help, this is going on, that person will want to slap you after a while. We're just people. We're all people. There are no real angels with these big superpowers. It's either technology or energy work or what have you. Just like if you're calling on your healer friend and trench working friend, can't always open up and do things. It's the same as with us. Yes, it is the same as with us. And some, like if you have family and spirit and soul family, yes, it's more spirit world that is actually more or less responding to some of this. But people have labeled us angels, quote unquote. We are not. That it was more of an Orion personification. But with us, yes, we do come, but people are under the misguided conception that we do it every single time, and we must do this when the invocation is set. This is something that is 100% not true. So, you have questions for me?
Well, I think it's good for this to come up now, because again, this is being seen post-conference. And I think one of the things that we were trying to get people to wrap their minds around basically is the importance of bringing together a unity and a co-creative way of thinking to driving problems or situations. So again, it's like we've always said, we started this in January of 2017. We said it back then, we say it now. There is going to be more personal responsibility to learn the skills you need to learn to generate the life you wish to generate. Now, it is certainly easier if you have a collective that agrees with certain things, that energy is put out in a way that helps protect all.
Yes.
That's why it's important
A mass
to it.
topo, yes.
A mass one. And so again, but it's going to take time to learn these things. I think as we move forward, that we're going to be working on spending just a brief time, probably right at the end of shows, talking about a co-creative type of mind thought that everyone can start to do, that then will help everyone. And I think we should start to do these small things. It's not gonna be asking a lot, but you have to prove to yourself that you can participate and something good can come out of it. And then again, one of the first aspects of that is you cannot doubt your co-creation. And so one of the great things that happens when people try to co-create is they do it with a question mark at the end of their co-creation, rather than this is the way it's going to be. There is no other way. There's not even a thought to another way, because this is the way. The one Mandalorian, thought this is the way. And so again, we have to learn, and then we have to learn these things together.
And if any beings are coming to you and basically saying, I got this, you don't have to worry about that, I would be very, very, very shockingly suspicious of that. He even came across someone that said that these quote unquote Melchizedek beings were basically setting up this whole system to where, I don't need to do anything when I get up. They're taking care of it for me over a 6 to 8 week period. Wrong. Even though the Guardianship of the Void have used the Melchizedek being moniker before, there are negative groups that use it too. And there's no such thing as a Melchizedek being. The Void is now stopping these things, per our request as well. They are stopping that. But at the same time, they have not once ever said that they got this. They handle the multiversal concerns, but they cannot always handle your own personal concerns. That said, if anybody is coming to you saying this, human-wise, they're either a snake oil salesman, shyster just to get your money, or they are beholden to beings telling them that, and they are just passing on the wrong information. It is one of those two things. If, again, to reiterate, if you have been told that you do not have to take care of your own personal business, that somebody says, I got this, you're being lied to by a hedge better with an attitude problem and with a very sick, sinister sense of humor. This is where I wanted to answer that question.
Really, and pretty much I just want to stay on this particular theme, that again, personal responsibility, you can learn these skills. You were born in with these skills. Everyone was, but they were never taught to you. You were never taught how to manifest for yourself. You were only shown how to co-create for someone else, and that needs to now start changing. And so we will be spending time on this a little bit, probably every single show, to try to help people see that they can change their lives in a much positive way, and the co-creative energies of some of these basic things that everyone really wants. When the collective consciousness also comes together, it drives this forward. And that's what we need to do for ourselves personally, as for our, community, the larger society at whole, to make things better for humanity.
Yes, and I would recommend little bits at a time. And as much as he hates to hear this part, repetition of certain information like this, like what I said about the Melchizedek beings. And if you are someone actually out there spreading this information, it's either a 3-letter agency trying to divide, like with your dodos and such like this, or it is somebody who is being tricked and they're thinking they're doing something benevolent. They're saying, oh no, these beings got this. You don't have to have any personal responsibility. Wrong. We will help you out in real severe situations if we're able. But we can't just be like stapled to the ground somewhere and say no, this is now your job. Absolutely not. Would you do that to your neighbor? Would you drag him out of his house and her house, put them on your property, and nail gun them to the ground? I would highly suggest not doing this, but this is exactly what you are saying. Or in the olden days where they would cage up jinn and make them build things and guard things. Even though that was done through an against evil sources and those escaping from Pandora's box, I would highly again suggest that you not be this way. You want to form a unity? Good. But we know the V2K is very bad and the mouth is very, very bad. And we do assist where we can and how we can because it annoys us too. And it makes us lose our minds as well. And we're more than welcome and more than happy to assist within those situations and also with the aquatic Draco and all these scenarios. But people are asking too much at times by basically saying, oh, yeah, I don't want to do anything. I'm so tired of this. I don't want to do anything anymore. Wrong. You are here on Midgard right now and or Earth. These things are a thing right now. But do I think that your kind should be tortured day in and day out and given creepy thoughts day in and day out? Absolutely not. This is where we will help buffer this, as well as Isaac, Lane, Avessa, and others are helping. But are we like the saintly figures of your teachings? No. But can we use our form and edifice to sit at the big boys table, let's just say, with everyone else out there and actually get some things going in that area? Absolutely, yes. And do we guard our own territories, and do we guard people that we consider family, all of us, and help out and help out gain communications? Absolutely, yes. So I just wanted to make sure that this particular conversation was broached at the moment.
And so again, even in that experience of what you're talking, that, people would you dare to pull out your neighbor? What is actually happening is that whatever is coming at you is putting you into a fear state. You must be able to notice when you've become in such a fear state, because the other thing that people need to learn is how do I get into that calm analem state where that noise does not affect you. And so that is some of the practicing that needs to be done. How can I shift my frequencies to be at a place that I am now observant of it, but not reactionary towards it? And so you can...
Difficult, but not impossible.
It is not impossible. And in fact, everyone can do this and get better at it all the time. So you must recognize it, because this is the systematic way over thousands and thousands of years that they have initially gotten people to co-create for them. They utilize the fear state. They will create the fear to be afraid of. They're going to create that. Then they're going to make you afraid of it. Then they're going to be the rescuer who brings you out of it. But what you've done is you've given away some of your rights to reach there. They control all aspects of this particular game. Will they utilize demons? Will they utilize things to help them out? Sure, they will. They know all of this stuff exists. But again, you must understand how they do what they do in order not to play in their game. Because to them, it really is a game, and it is disgusting the amount of regular people they have no problem watching dying for their games that they like to play. It's a disgusting, evil way of being. It is not what people really want around them. You do need to know it exists so that you can say no, no more, and you can help stop this with, again, a unified consciousness that will push back on these things. And you have to know it's there.
And do not self-farm other people's agendas. People have to know what the whole self-farming thing is. It's because an indoctrinated belief was instituted on Midgard or on Earth at some point by either ET or extra-dimensional, ultra-dimensional races at some point to forward an agenda for a particular task, such as, say, harvesting crops or getting gold or chemicals out of somebody's body because they've eaten something and it reformulates, like the elephants with the coffee bean poop thing going on. He always compares it to that, which is highly accurate, by the way. All these are experiments. You are not beholden to any of these beings. You're not beholden to any of their agendas. Do not forward their agendas. Your Catholic Church made one of the worst kinds, saying basically the whole Jesus take the wheel scenario. No, you are the driver of your own vessel, your car, your boat, any of them, your own vessel. And basically giving it over to someone else is highly suspicious. Any belief that has you doing this and not having you in the driver's seat is suspicious, and this doesn't mean that you're suddenly going into ego by saying you are true benevolence or career. No, you're not going into ego, and you're not basically becoming this egocentric being by saying this. This is also what your religions would have you believe, that since you're drifting away from that firm foundation, somehow you're what? Turning into some evil demonic demigod. In some cases, it's happened in the past. But no, that's a bit of propaganda right there. I do want to say this. Do not self-farm someone else's belief. Yes, there are margins to live by. Be kind, but it doesn't mean that the church or any of them had to institute fear policies to keep people in line. In some cases, this was true. They thought it was a cute idea at first, but now it's gotten a little old. Let's just put it that way.
Well, thank you. So, any last words for this particular show?
No, I believe we have summed this up. I just wanted to broach that particular conversation. If you are constantly also, how can I put this, in an OCD state to be beholden to someone else, this is giving away power. Do not do this. This is doormat material right here. You're going to doormat territory here. I would not recommend this. This is a form of abuse and self-abuse. So, mentally and physically. So, I will end this here. So, thank you, everyone. And I'm always. Oh, and our channelings don't always have to be on our own channel, but it is preferred. We have our own channel, just like we have our own seat at the table. We are no longer at the kids' table. Yes, bye-bye now. So, there we go. Yeah, and that's true. That's very true. Another reason for retooling the Q&As here is also for that reason, because nature of what I do, the nature of how I do things. Upon seeing something, I am compelled then to complete it. It's kind of like you have your Ben Affleck character from The Accountant, where he goes, "It's not finished." That's how I am. Or it wasn't finished, or it's incomplete. That's how my brain works. It always has, even if the energy is saying, so that's how that is. And it goes into this OCD spiral. And I personally will say this, though. This did get a little worse after I got sick. I had a little bit of it before that, though. So there has been this rebalancing that has gone on. It's gone. But so this is why I personally ask when you send in questions, it's only a couple of them.
But again, the bottom line is this. The problem will be resolved. So if you choose not to be respectful and do that, it won't be looked at either anyway. So just know that again, this little OCD kind of behavior that many people have, it is something that you can change in your life, and you don't have to be beholden to it.
Yes. Otherwise, you're a slave to yourself at that point, and you don't want that. And I personally know from experience what that's like. So, or like Hercule Poirot from the new Poirot movies, where he's measuring the eggs, that whole bit. It's like that, where you have to turn the labels towards yourself from pop bottles, or sip water 3 times. Any of those OCD behaviors, fight them. All costs, fight it. So I believe we are good at this point to actually read the last affirmation and blessing here. This is another one from Elvis. So, leave this world better than you entered it, either through joy preferred or through such a mark being left on the society that way you can never be ignored. Again, channeling of musician and actor Elvis Presley. And we're at the point that I am now closing this circle within true benevolence and no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So thank you, everybody. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
I will be editing that.